You are now listening to the Artist King podcast.
I think the most important part, and I tell this to every creative who comes up to us after our panels at conventions and stuff, like, oh, how do I make my comic? How do I do this? How do I write my story? Like, you gotta just force that chunk of time into your week.
This is DTM of DeltaTangoMike.com, and this is the Artist King podcast, episode number 89, featuring the artist interview with the talented team of Kamikaze Animated. Please take the time to download the Artist King podcast in your favorite platform and listen anytime. We would like to hear your opinions and suggestions, so please direct your comments to dtm@artistking.org. The Artist King podcast is available on iTunes, Spreaker.com, Stitcher Radio, and ArtistKingArchive.com. The Artist King podcast is made possible by the support of our sponsors. You can find them on the partners page at artistking.org, and they include the law offices of Deborah Gonzalez Esquire, VelocityScreenprint.net, RevolveSkate.com, O-Hub at Giant, Southside Sickest, Makes Manny Beats, The Biz Garage, and AzaleaCreativeGroup.com. The mission: to get Kamikaze Animated on TV. The plan: publish a weekly comic page to build an audience that the Cartoon Network, Nickelodeon, or Netflix will not be able to ignore. How is that going to happen is what Carrie, Alan, and Havana have been hard at work for a few years, and you can catch their weekly episodes online at kamikazeanimated.com. This is the second time with Artist King, but this time around their team has grown and we get to meet the rest of the talent and ask them the hard questions. Is anyone making any money, and when will that big bag of cash drop from the sky? Follow kamikazeanimated.com on Facebook, Tumblr, Twitter, and everywhere on the social medias and interwebs you can find them by going to kamikazeanimated.com. We are now joined by Carrie, Havana, Dan, Jamel, and Lisa on this Artist King artist interview.
My name is Jamel James Jones. It's a very comic book name. So that's so I just adapted comic books. From Dallas, Texas. I currently go to SCAD, Savannah College of Art and Design, here in Atlanta, and I went to Collin County Community College before that to study 3D animation for video and film, and I kind of got a little bit disillusioned with that, and talked to this guy by the name of Oscar Grillo. He was in the business for like a while, like animated the original like Popeye series, and he got to talking with me, and he's like, if what you want to do is draw, then you need to like do that. Otherwise, you get pigeonholed, and then going down the track and then drink a lot. And you'd rather just drink a lot and enjoy what you do. So, so I went back to school for comics, like sequential art, and currently, like that's what I'm doing now. It's comics and concept art and storyboards for movies and animation. So, and then most of my stuff is on Behance. And it's Jamel Art. So my first name and art, and that's how I try to tag everything. So.
Nice. Yes, sir.
My name's Dan Jolly. I am from Ringgold, Georgia, which no one has ever heard of.
I've heard of it. I've never understood why they would call it that, but yeah.
I actually know why.
All right.
Do you want to know why?
Yes.
It's named after a war hero from, I think it's like the War of 1812. This guy who did a bunch of spectacular stuff. And there was a popular song about him that was like nationwide, this ballad of this dude named Ringgold. So there's like 5 different towns across the country named Ringgold.
Nice.
In various states. Yeah. So
right.
So yeah, there's the one that I'm from that I moved away from for like 20 years, but wound up back there, which is where I live now. It's just south of Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Okay.
And I've been a freelance writer for the last 25 years.
Wow.
It's, I'm like the old man of the group here.
How How old are
The
you?
wise old.
I'm 44.
Oh, okay. You got me by 1 year, man. Not that old. We still young a little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
Young at heart.
But I started out writing comic books.
Okay.
And still do. I mean, I've been doing that the whole time, but I wrote for pretty much every major publisher in the country at one time or another. Got from there into licensed property novels. Did one for Star Trek and one for the show Angel. Wound up doing some novelizations. Did a novelization of Iron Man, the movie. Did a couple of 3 original ones. I wrote a series called Alex Unlimited, which is a YA sci-fi espionage kind of thing. Went from there into working on video games, and have been doing that for about 9 years now. I was lead writer on a lot of Transformers titles, and on Prototype 2, and most recently I was one of the principal writers on Dying Light, which I'm very proud to say has sold upwards of 5 million copies and was actually the best-selling game on the planet for 2 or 3 weeks.
Wow.
And even more recently than that, I'm really happy to say that I've got a deal to do a new trilogy of original novels for Seventh Star Press. That's going to be a trilogy called the Grey Widow Trilogy. The first book should be coming out end of May of 2016.
Wow.
And that's a contemporary sci-fi horror superhero novel set in Atlanta, Georgia.
All right.
Nice.
Very cool. Very cool. Awesome.
How do you follow that up?
Right, huh? Give me 1 second.
Sorry, Lisa.
Think about that for 1 second. Can you get up there, Jamel, and hit that button to go up on the temperature? Because I think it's going to start getting real cold. Make it up to 70 at least. Yeah. There you go. Thanks. Appreciate it. I don't know how y'all feel, but I don't want to mess y'all up. All right, cool.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So my name is Lisa Kirk, and I'm from Royston, Georgia. I'm also from SCAD alum. But since graduating, I've been pretty much floating around doing a lot of indie projects, mostly digital coloring. And last project I was on was a rendition of Little Red Riding Hood called Battle for Owlsburg. While, promoting this book, I ended up meeting Carrie for Kamikaze, and, from there we went. So, yeah, that's about it for me.
In a nutshell? Awesome. You say Grayson, Georgia?
Royston.
Royston. Okay, all right.
Oh, I forgot social media.
Oh, yeah, mostly Instagram.
And what's your Instagram?
Caro Cola.
Kero Cola.
Yeah.
Caro Cola with the K Cola?
Yeah.
No, with a C with
C?
cola.
Oh, all right.
I was thinking of K too.
Yeah, let's make. Yeah.
No,
that'd be
Trying to get away from that.
Yeah.
Nah, that's too much.
I give you a lot of help for that.
I'm on Twitter at underscore Dan Jolly. DANJOLLEY. LLEY.
All right.
And danjolly.com also.
Cool. All right. Awesome. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. My name is Havana. I'm one of the artists on Kamikaze. I was on this podcast earlier this year, a few months ago, when we were in the middle of episode 1. We wrapped up episode 2 over the summer, and the last 3 people who...
It was episode 1, yeah.
Yes, we wrapped up episode 1 earlier this summer. Now we're working on episode 2, but the last 3 artists that you just heard from worked on Midnight Run, which is a one-shot. I joined the Kamikaze team 3 years ago, and at first I was just the character designer, but my role has grown to, much more than that. So now I'm primarily the cleanup artist on the comic itself.
Yep. And graphic designer.
And the graphic designer.
What's a cleanup artist? What's that mean?
So what I did, the way we produce our comic, Alan, who isn't here with us, unfortunately, but he does the rough sketches of each page that goes up every week. and I take those roughs and I clean up the line work. I make sure the character's on model. I make sure the character's expressions match the dialogue in the script, and I just try to make those lines as clear as possible for Carrie, who will do the ink and paint.
She's like our actor.
Yes.
Yeah. She just takes those emotions and pushes them.
Nice. All right, and you're at Havana. What's your Instagram?
My Instagram is just Havana_N, as in November. My Twitter is Havana Tweets. So that's HAVANA tweets.
Okay, cool.
And I am Carrie Tupper. My Instagram is Mermaid Shells on Instagram. It's also the same on Twitter and Tumblr. So if you're looking for me on any place, it's basically Mermaid Shells. And I got on the project because Alan, my husband, had the idea, and he shared it with me, and I said, "Oh, that's a cool idea. Let me play with it," and he did. And now this is where we are. So,
all right,
the short end of it. It's a long story otherwise.
The long story is in another podcast. So go search back on Artist King podcast. Yeah. You okay?
Yes.
You cool? If we need to go again, it's okay for you to say so. Right.
Okay.
Listen, I'm just saying. You don't want to have more beers than us. So. That won't be in here. I will edit things out. You know? All right. Cool. So, yes. Check out the earlier podcast. I'm not sure which number it is. It don't matter. Listen to all of them. ArtistKing.org. And you'll hear the lovely story of Carrie and Alan and how they met and their passion for art. And,
you guys are making me blush.
But so where do we start? I know there's a whole lot of long list of things that are happening, and I guess give me some guidance here, Carrie. What's up?
I guess we could start with that we finished episode 1.
Okay.
So
and that episode 1 means like what? Season 1, year 1.
So the way we've written out the episode, because Kamikaze was a concept for an animated series, the way we've written it out is that each script is a full episode, a full 30-minute episode?
30 to 45-minute episode.
Yeah. And when we decided to launch the webcomic, we decided to just follow that format as well. So as Carrie said, we wrapped up episode 1 earlier this summer. And, we wanted to give ourselves, meaning Alan, Carrie, and myself, a month to kind of recover and just work on setting up the next episode. In that meantime, we didn't want a whole month to pass without pushing out content to our fans, because this year has been amazing. Like, we've gone to different conventions, and fandom has just grown exponentially. It's been really exciting to watch, actually.
You have won some awards.
We won the 2015 Glyph Web Award for the Best
Webcomic.
Yeah.
And then we got our first cosplayer, who showed up as Kamikaze.
And
yes, that was exciting.
I cried like a little bitch.
Well, okay, we were in a crowd, and I saw her. I was like, oh my god, there's a cosplayer. And, I realized that we did not know her at all. That wasn't a friend of ours. That wasn't a friend of Carrie's or Alan's. We did not pay her.
Yeah.
She just showed up as Kamikaze. And we always talked, within our first year, I remember us fantasizing about the day we would get our first cosplayer. We finally met her at Anime Week in Atlanta 2015. And when I saw her, we were in a crowd of people, and I'm pointing to her, we didn't pay her, we don't know her. Everyone else around us.
That's actually really funny because Lisa was the first person who saw her, and the cosplayer, her name is Bettina, and Bettina, it was her first time ever cosplaying.
What?
So it was her second convention, and she saw us at MomoCon 2015, and really liked what we had, and decided, I am going to do my first cosplay, and I want it to be Kamikaze. Yeah. So, God, I'm getting
emotional about it.
Cry.
You know how many people have cosplayed my character?
And you've been in the business 30 years?
None.
But yeah,